Hello. May I just preface this video by saying I know I'm over a month late to this. My original plan was to wait until Serena's banner left on the 14th or 15th, whatever time zone it ended up being, I forget. But as you can see, I am still late. Things happened. I got busy. I was burnt out. So I just didn't do it. So now I'm here with a short video essay on the 2.5 anniversary sync pairs. Now, I'm going to go over the Masters Day 3 and 4 star grid extensions as well, but those three will be their own separate video or else I'd be here for over an hour. Now, you have seen my videos talking about each individual pair and their kits when they were releasing, with the exception of Darkrai when that happened. But the goal behind this is that now that the pairs have been out for a while, people have used them. I've seen them in action. I've used them in action, and I can visualize my complaints, reinforcements, and everything about these pairs. I'm just going to sit down and talk about them. So I'm going to go in release order. So if you guys are waiting for a Serena, you got to go to the end. But so we're going to start this off with May and Latias, which evolves into Mega Latias. So as we can see here, base Latias has almost 400 special attack and almost 400 speed, assuming 20 on 20 potential. That's pretty good. Like, I think 400 is a good marker of, oh yeah, you're definitely going to start hitting some pretty decent numbers. So the moves being Mist Ball with 120 base power, 50% chance of lowering the target special attack by one stage. That's all fine, Danny. 120 base power, granted, is not the greatest, but the ability to debuff is nice, depending on who you're paired with, what multipliers they get off it, so you can use her as a debuffer. Psychic Wish turns the terrain into Psychic Terrain. 2 uses, 2 bars. So this is a terrain effect. So terrains are different than weathers and zones, in the sense that you can stack them all together. So when we saw Psychic Wish as her move, we were all afraid that she was going to do Psychic Zone, and that would stack with Psychic Terrain. That was the fear. Obviously, that isn't the case. So they're going to keep them separate, but pretty much anyone can get a Wish and make it a Terrain or Weather. So I like that. Now, obviously, Psychic Terrain buffs up Psychic moves by 50%. So Mist Ball gets an additional 50% power bonus when Psychic Terrain is up. X Special Attack All raises Special Attack of all out sync bars by 2 stat ranks. So she can get her Special Attack up to +4 out of 6. So someone else needs to round it off, or if you go for an NPR, whatever, she can't max out herself. So she's mostly off damage if she doesn't get that, or just strictly as a debuffer. Alright, Best Friends applies move gauge acceleration to the added field of play. It raises the user's defense and special defense by 2 stat ranks, raises the user's crit rate by 3 stat ranks. So she gives everyone move gauge acceleration, busts up her own defenses by 2, and max out her crit rate all in one shot. This is a one-use TM, so you only get these effects one time, unless if you get an NPR, of course. Crit rate, max out 3 stats. So she can max out her own crit rate, special attack up to +4 with a 120 base power move, while benefiting other allies by raising their own special attack, but buffing up their own psychic moves if you use her with that in mind. Basic things like that. Now her sync move, Friendship Forging Mist Ball, becomes Mega Latias into the end of battle. The more the user's special attack is lowered, the greater the power of this move. That is Devastation, I believe? It's Devastation or Overpower. It's definitely one of those. But that multiplier ends up being 2.2 on a base 192 power sync move. That, in of itself, is not the greatest. Yeah, it is Overpower. I'm not an idiot. Okay. So, granted, she has 50% from Psychic Terrain. She has an extra 2.2 from the special tag down effect with a 192 base power move. The one issue with this is the base power. Otherwise, this is perfectly fine. Now, abilities base Latias is added insult. The more the target's special attack and special defense are low, the more it powers up the user's moves. This is alright, because there's one common thing with this kit so far. What doesn't she do? She lowers special attack. But base kit here, more special defense is lowered. She doesn't do that. Someone else has to do that. So that's a little weird. You're not getting the full added insult by herself. Now, their excuse is probably, oh, like most psychic off damage units provide psychic or something that lowers special defense, so you can just toss that on her. I still don't like it. Like, special defense down is easier to come by in psychic, but I just don't think it should have been a part of this kit, personally. Psychic freebie 9 applies the free move next to the user when an attack is successful in psychic terrain. So she will start costing 0 move bars on her Miss Ball. So it's a base 120 power move for free. That's not bad. Like, that in of itself is not bad. On a roll 1, raises the stat lowering values with additional move effects. So on a roll 1 is 10%. So this becomes 60% instead of 50. It's fine. It gets the job done. It makes it more than a coin flip. So yeah, so far my only issue with this kit is added insult. Now when we become Mega, your special attack shoots up to 475. Whereas there's 396 before. So you get a whole 80-something special attack, like either 80 or almost 80. All of her moves stay the same. Sync moves stay the same. Now what she gets is, in place of on a roll, she gets unexpected benefit X2. So it raises the chance of stat lowering effects with the digital effects of moves. So I assume that this is 20%. So this goes from 60 to 70% instead. When an opponent's stat is lowered, it is lowered by double the stat. So instead of it being -1, it's -2. Now, my one issue with this is she has to be Mega to do it. And her sync already benefits off of special stat down as is, so if you're not getting that -6 or at least close to it for your first sync, you're not doing as much. You get the double down after you sync Nuke with her because she is a tech. You get that after. You need that before to get down quicker. So Nuke-wise, if you're not just supporting her, she's only... Alright, so 1 out of 5 grid. What does she get? Dauntless, Stalwart, Miss Ball MGR, some special attack nodes, and 2 Miss Ball power-ups. Her 1 out of 5 grid is not good. So if you just pulled for 1 out of 5, that's all I have to say. I don't think she's that great. Off damage, she's fine. Debuffing, she gets the job done, but she needs the Mega. And that's the problem. 2 out of 5, she gets access to Catalyst. Move gauge acceleration when the user's sync move, the first time the user's sync move is used each battle. So you get the move gauge acceleration from your TM to max out your crit rate, but then when you sync with Latias, you get Catalyst. That's strong. So you get moral support and moral boost. So 50% chance to raise special defense and or special attack when the trainer uses a move. So while you're setting up using whatever it is that you're using, you have a chance to max out your stats. That's fine. Weird immunity status conditions cannot be inflicted on the user when in psychic terrain. So you can use that on specific legendary arenas of where, let's say, they poison you or paralysis you. You can set Latias as the tank, as a debuffer. Takes that head on, nullifies it. Doesn't affect everyone else, because most of them have go viral with that. So that's helpful. Now, when you look at the maxed out grid, this is where she gets all of the damage multipliers. Psychic Wish Propulsion 9, you can use this for speed clears, getting someone sync up as quickly as possible. you're nuking with someone, you know you can max out your stats very, very fast. Good. Propulsion 9. Just accelerate it. Get that shit down as quickly as possible. Psychic Wish NPR. Unless if it's a long-term fight, does not matter. Dismay. Always the special attack of all opponents increased by 2 stars the first time the user enters a battle each battle. This helps her non-mega debuff quicker before the mega. This would also help with speedruns for allies who do benefit off of special attack down. Example, Gardevoir. And you're not spamming Moonblast because she has a higher chance. Granted, Psychic Terrain versus a Fairy type, but I think you get the point. Special attack -2 at the start of battle. When you mega, this applies again. So even if you don't get many miss balls, it goes down again. So you don't have to nuke with that. At that point, you can literally just build yourself as raw attack damage, get the mega as quickly as possible, and start spamming fully powered up miss balls. Super Sync applies super effective next to the user the first time its sync is used each battle. So once again, for a nuke strategy, you EX sync the middle and you have dismay, so they're at -4. Let's say you got 2 off before. You get the super effective up, and you just smack them with the fully powered super effective up miss ball. So these have use in a speed comp. Now the rest appear: Brain Teaser, Overpower, Smart Pants, and Devastation. Powers up sync. Okay. So, Brain Teaser, the more the target special defense is lower, the more powers up the user's moves. Overpower, the more the target special attack is lower, the more it powers up the user's moves. These sound the same as Added Insult. Because it all scales the same way. It's just an additional modifier with Added Insult. Now, once again, my issue remains with her not being able to lower special defense. And it not working. You need someone else to do that. So you can easily just go with right side, but then going into the nuke stuff, like so. That works. Yeah, you still have 9 energy left, so you can literally grab the MGR if you wanted to. Just as an example, if you didn't want to bother with special defense down, but just it's an extra X2 on the sync and an extra 30% on the move damage. That helps Miss Ball so much. All because it's only 120 base power. You need any additional multiplier you can get to really do the damage. So 3 out of 5, her damage is very good. It's on par with most other techs, strikes, but she needs the dupes. That's the issue. Now her sync nuke, you have the 2.2 from here, and these are, I'm not doing calculations, I'm just stating the multipliers. Smart Pants and Devastation, another 4.4 total, so that's 6.6 plus Psychic Terrain. Almost 7. That should be about the math. With, let's say you were able to get both sync nodes, right? In theory, that is a base 242 base power move with that level of multiplier. But then the 50% from tech as is, so I think that ends up being 7.5 pretty much. I don't even remember if I counted that. You guys watching, you know, I have the brain of a squirrel right now. So her syncs can hit pretty hard. Her moves can do pretty solid damage as well. So 60%. I forget how this adds up, but this is either another 60% or it's 30. It should be 60 though. So that's 120, 170. That's almost an additional 200%. But then whatever you get from super effective up as well. If you go super sinker, if you have another pair I'm going to mention, this Flygon, if you're using Red and Snorlax, you don't even have to worry about using your TM on Latias because he would max out your own crit rate. Just things like that. That helps. Like, she needs help in the base move damage department, but Sync Nuke, she kills it. She's just a super strong Sync Nuke because you get the base 400 something special attack. Yeah. Right, yeah. Yeah, you get the base 475 special attack as you're doing that first sync. So that's hitting hard. Like, you can hit upwards of 50 to 60k without a support EX. Like, that's first sync. Assuming done correctly. Now, granted, team comp-wise, she works best with Mewtwo. You can use her with other psychic pairs as well for the propulsion, for just faster syncs than what Musharna would give, and I think that's something very fun that I would like to try in the future. Using her as a tank kind of build, raising her own special defense, being immune to status conditions like paralysis so you don't get the speed cut, propulsion in general, for, as I said, faster syncs, for a support EX, for a Mega Give on the team, like if you're using her with Lusamine, a faster sync is very, very good, especially if you don't have the half sync parameter. Like, I think that is worth it. But then from there, just basic MGR, move damage, just to keep them going. Move gauge acceleration, like, she's a very good support for a lot of pairs that exist. But her own damage, you need dupes for. I don't think that's necessarily bad, but the one part that I do think about her is bad is the fact that base kit, it says special defense should be lowered for more damage, and she doesn't do it anywhere. It's just kind of implied that you should use that kind of pair with her, and I'm personally not the biggest fan of it. So obviously her banner's already gone, but if she were to come back in the future, I don't think she's a must pull in the slightest. I think she's very solid, very versatile with a lot of different stuff, but she's definitely not a must pull. Other pairs do what she does, but she just takes different aspects of them and mashes them into one kit. So the next banner that released was Scylla and Tornadoes. Now, this is Therian form. Now, the first thing we notice is she has higher special attack than Mega Latias. 488 special attack, 700 base HP, decent defenses, and 420 speed. 420 speed is a good chunk. Like, that's nothing to sneeze at. Moves, we have Air Cutter, critical hits land more easily, 51 base power, 95 accuracy, AoE. So she just smacks out everyone. Flying Wish creates Flying Zone. As I explained before, zones, terrains, weathers, they all can be stacked on top of each other. So you can use her with someone like Gyarados, who wants rain and flying damage up. You smash them together. Granted, we need a better rain setter for this team to work, but I think Gyarados could be super strong with these two combined. Mini Potion all restores the HP of all allies pairs by approximately 20% of their max HP. So, yeah, she can heal. She has a little bit of AoE in her kit for some chip damage, and you'll see a little later on what else she does with that. And damage up. That's good. Ready for takeoff, raises the user's special attack and crit rate by 1 stat rank, so that's selfish. Then AoE raises speed of all allies by 2 ranks. Because you can use this twice, she can get her crit up to +2, special attack up to +2, and all allies speed up to +4. So anyone who struggles a little bit with speed, she can top them off. Now, sync move, Heart Soaring Hurricane. Power increase when zone is flying. So that's a 50% increase. 240 base power. 240 is pretty good. Like a free 50% with 240, that's pretty nice. Passives, Staggering 2. 30% chance of making the target flinch when the user's attack move against it is successful. So when you're using your Air Cutter, this applies to everyone individually. This isn't like an AoE defense crush of where when it activates, it activates against all of them. Staggering affects each one individually, or else I think that's how the defense crush works. I need to look at it again. But yeah, staggering affects each one individually, so everyone has a 30% chance of flinching. Now, my initial complaint with this was, oh, well, I wish it was Air Slash, so that way you could control who you're flinching. I learned that this kind of doesn't matter. Because I've seen people pull off some insane duo stuff, solo stuff with Scylla. And she didn't care. Just flinch everyone. Who cares if they get the first sync? Heal it back up. Just keep going. Flinch, flinch, flinch. Don't make them move. She does this very well. Like, oh my god. Gobsmack 2, 30% chance of leaving the target confused. So not only do you have a chance to flinch, but you can leave them confused as well. Now, there was an Absol solo that I did a while back of where the whole goal was to get like 2 or 3 confusion activations in order to make sure they don't hit you. So even if you don't flinch them and you confuse them, they still have a chance to hit themselves. Granted, I wish she had stopped hitting yourself, like somewhere, but it is not needed because it still enables stuff that while the enemy is confused, you hit harder. Like, that's a very real thing that she does. She also enables Harry to be a little more usable because it's a 2-bar move. Flying has a lot of flinch stuff. So you can use Swallow, Pidgeot, and Scylla. Air Slash, Air Cutter, Hurricane. And you're more than likely flinching whoever it is you want to flinch, and you smack them with a 100% powered up Hurricane from Blue, and that's not counting whatever accuracy you get from Acuity. So Blue got a big buff from this. Blue and Pidgeot on the map. They hit super hard because of this. Single target DPS? Damn, bro. Alright. Aerial Acceleration. Quickly charges the move gauge when the zone is Flying Zone. So if you don't know how move gauge acceleration works, it scales off of your speed stat. So 420 speed with +4 speed. You are your own built-in move gauge acceleration. So, and this is why zones, weathers, and terrains all stacking is so important. Because you can use her for someone you need speed support for, healing, and just flinching in general. And she is her own move gauge acceleration with that. She is your speed support. She is your healer. Granted, not necessarily a tank, but she can stop them from moving as well. You can use her in that regard as well. Like, it doesn't matter if she's not benefiting anyone. She still gets the job done. So that's all base kit. 1 out of 5. So you get the Air Cutter accuracy. So you're guaranteed to hit everyone with Air Cutter unless if they do accuracy down, evasion, whatever. But you can get that to 100% accuracy with 1 out of 5. That's what I recommend doing. Air Cutter power, special attack, all of that will scale with Flying Zone, all of that, and it just makes your damage better. So why not? Speed nodes are also very good to pick up. 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, because they're just nice, right? So 2 out of 5, we have more speed nodes. We have Impervious, Natural Remedy. Barrel Roll reduces damage when the user is hit by an attacking move while in Flying Zone. 2 out of 5 enables her as a tank. You can use her as a tank. Granted, she doesn't buff any of her defenses, but you have the healing to back it up. You have the crowd control to back it up. You should only be taking a few hits unless if your luck is garbage. So 2 out of 5, you have the option of tank Scylla. It's an option. It's very funny. Alright, so Team Sharp Entry raises the critical hit of all its sync powers by 1 stat rank when the user enters the battle. Now, this doesn't affect her as much, because unless if you're using her as a sync nuke, Air Cutter is already guaranteed to crit. All because she gets her crit up to +2 because of Ready for Takeoff, and Air Cutter as is more likely to land a critical hit. So it's already at a natural +1 crit rate. Sorry, it's already at a natural +2 crit rate. Now, if you don't know how crits work exactly, syncs have a natural +0, other moves have a natural +1, crit hits that land more easily, moves are at a natural +2, +4 being the maximum. So the goal of crit hit stat ranks is to go from that natural +1 to +2 to +3 to +4. Sync nukes are not guaranteed crits unless if you have the guaranteed crit buff. That locks everything into +4 regardless. That's just a quick rundown. I hope that makes sense. If not, I can always make another video on that. So Team Sharp Entry, that's very good if you're doing a flying type speed run and you just use a dire hit plus. Okay, good. Oh, okay, good. That pair's maxed out. So she would enable faster inertia, faster ramming speed, faster max crit rate if you're doing speedrun type stuff. She also has Air Cutter move MGR 9, so where Air Cutter no one takes 2 bars, you would recover 1 bar guaranteed from that. So it's essentially costing 1 bar every time. She gets an additional Air Cutter Gobsmack, 30% chance of leaving the target confused. So she has a 60% chance, because this stacks, they directly add into each other. 60% chance to leave the target confused. You're spamming Air Cutter, they're getting confused. I don't think you need it. It's one of the most droppable things so far, but if someone happens to benefit from confusion and you need it as quickly as possible, you can easily do this, and it works. It works just fine. Impervious, obviously, no stat reductions. Natural remedy, whenever you get hit with assassination, you cleanse it, so you don't have to worry about speed down from paralysis, so you can keep your move get acceleration as fast as possible. Now, maxed out grid, we have soften up. Critical hits land more easily when the user attacks with the sync move. So this puts the sync move at a natural +1. So with 3 stat ranks, you are at +4. With this, your sync is guaranteed to crit, so you don't need guaranteed crit. So this is a good idea. Final Wish NPR, it's fine. Inertia, she can sync nuke. She has inertia and interference sync. So you want the enemy confused and your speed as high as possible. So you get X2 from this, 50% from the flying zone buff, 50% from the built-in flying zone buff from the sync move. So that's X2 for then another 50%. So like 4.55, but then Tech EX as well. So you're at like 5.5, somewhere around there. You have a pretty good modifier for a higher special attack. Like, she can hurt very hard. She can hurt. She gets an additional Air Cutter staggering, 20% chance to make the target flinch. So this ends up being a 40% chance to flinch. That is really good for AoE. Just smack them, flinch them all. No one's moving. You just keep spamming it. You don't need to retarget or anything. She's a very brain-dead character. Unless if you're using her as tank, in that case, you need to know when to heal and whatnot. But yeah, she is very brain-dead, very strong. And if you're using like Blue and Pidgeot, for example, and you get the Mega with them, after that, you can literally just sync nuke with... You can literally just sync nuke and be fine. You don't even need to... Like, you don't need to run a Mega or even a support EX. Just run her, whatever side DPS you want, and just smack them with your sync nuke. And they're pretty much dead. She is a really strong sync nuke. Like most techs do now, so just keep that in mind. Air Card Disarm lowers the target's attack and special attack by 1 stat rank when the user is successful against a flinching, confused, or trapped target. So you want the confusion up, so that's why Gobsmack is directly above it. So you want them confused, but then from there you can start debuffing them. This benefits units who want the enemy offenses down. Granted, there are better units to use for that, like End and Reshiram have an AoE Noble Roar that you could choose to lower 1 stat greater than the other. You have Kyurem with Double Drop. You have Iris and Hydreigon with another move get acceleration that has another flinch in their kit. Granted, it's not as accurate, but more consistent and faster stat drops via Break and Swipe and Snarl. So a lot of people do this, but this isn't bad if you need it. If you want the move get acceleration, if you want the strong sync nuke, granted Iris has a strong sync nuke as well, but this is less debuff reliant. Or you could just not need it. You could just entirely not need it. And then obviously Master Potion stuff. Master Healer mini potion stuff. of where you get the MGR, or you get the Master, so you heal 30%, so you just heal more. So overall, this unit is super good. If this unit were to ever come back, I would say pull for her, because she has a lot of crowd control, speed control, and really just helps a lot of people. Even if you don't think that they need her, she would probably still benefit them in some way. And once again, Zones are immortal in this game. Zones, weather terrains, they're immortal. Unless if a second one comes out, just like the May situation where you don't need her because Musharna already exists, who's a general pool unit. Flying Zone, another zone probably won't come out for a long time. So just keep that in mind. Scylla, amazing unit. Now we're going to go into the fun type. Dragon. Here we have Flygon. Flygon and Reinhardt. Now, I gave this unit so much shit when he came out. And I just want to say, I was wrong. For the most part. But my one complaint, if you saw, you know what my complaint is. But 376 special attack, that's not bad. 416 speed, not bad. Pretty good. So, base moves, we have Twister, 54 base power, all targets, 20% chance of making the target flinch. Very similar to Skyline in that sense. So, it's not, it could be better, but it could be worse at the same time. Fire Spin, 45 base power, 85 accuracy, leaves the target trapped. Whatever. It's fine. Sandstorm, causes Sandstorm, 2 uses, 2 bars, field effect. Yep. Fine by me. Can't be tamed. Raises the user's special attack by 4 stat ranks. Raises the user's critical rate by 2 stat ranks. These are selfish. He does these to only himself. So if you're using him as a sync nuke or like a last one-shot type thing, you need someone to give him that last crit rate, because 4 special attack works for what he does. Applies super effective next to all allied sync pairs when weather conditions are in effect. This is huge, because the only other pair who gives super offensive up to an ally period is Snorlax. And you cannot use him with Red Charizard because, well, same name. You couldn't do that. This allows you to be able to give super offensive up to Red Charizard now. But then you have Desert Spirit, Dragon Beam. This move's power increases when weather conditions are in effect. 240 base power. So it's the same multiplier as Skyla's, so it's not bad. Now, Dynamax. You got Max Dragon, 480 base power, lowers attack of all poison sync pairs by 2 stat ranks. That's honestly whatever. You would much rather use Max Flare. It makes the weather sunny. Still, it's the same base power. Unless if Max Dragon is super effective, use Max Flare. Because you get to change the weather entirely. While keeping his passive, which I'll go over that in a second. Then Max Guard, you give damage up next to an ally. That is fine if your tank needs the extra little help. Like, that's perfectly fine. Passives, weather buff. You use attack, defense, special defense, and speed are increased by 30% when the weather conditions are in effect. This isn't a stat increase. This is... Well, this isn't... How do I word this? This isn't a stat buff. This is a raw stat increase. So, all these numbers go up by 30%. I'm not going to do the math, but that gives you artificial movement acceleration, artificial special attack up, artificial bulks for defenses. That's really good. Atmospheric acceleration quickly charges the move gauge when weather conditions are in effect. Exact same thing as this, but it's 20%. So whatever speed scales up from this, you get an additional 20% for acceleration. That's really good. Now here's where his bread and butter is. Team Strength Status 9. Increase the physical move next and special move next effect of all allies by 1 rank when the user Pokemon uses a status move. This is what I should have praised him for, but I didn't. This is super good. Like, you use Sandstorm. Everyone gets physical special next. Use it again. Everyone gets it. You got an NPR. You use it again. This is the one unit I actually want a weather NPR on because of this effect right here. It's a free, 20%. Oh, you're still buffing? Okay, here's 40%. Oh, you're still buffing? Here's 50%. Sorry, here's 60%. It just stacks. Because my issue with this mechanic as a whole was that you couldn't max it. Because the max is like 10 or 10, I think? I forget. Yeah, it is 10 because it's 200%. All because you couldn't max it with anyone. I was viewing it as a mandatory multiplier. It's extra. It's a 20% extra damage, 4% extra damage, 60% extra damage. It's almost like super effective up in that sense, except you get the full benefits of super effective up immediately. But with physical and special next, you can stack that with it or use it for off type. This was where my thinking was flawed, and this is what I glossed over. Raihan is stupid good. I completely glossed over this part of his kit. Now, the one thing that I wish he was ground type. Because Max Dragon just isn't good. It's just not. You'd rather use Max Flare. His sync is fine, but it should have been ground. I'm sorry. I want this unit to be a ground type. Everything else about his kit, super good. Now, grid. 1 out of 5. All you get is Fire Spin accuracy, Twister MGR, Sand Shelter, so you don't damage yourself in Sandstorm while buffing everyone. That's fine. Not needed, but fine. HP ups, speed ups, all that scales. So, not bad. Alright. 2 out of 5. We got some stuff here. Team Pinpoint Entry raises accuracy of all allied sync by 1 when the user enters battle. That might get some use. Twister Aggravation 2 increases the chance of Twister flinching by 20%, so that's 40%. That's less than a coin flip. I glossed over this as well, because I was so focused on single target flinching, Astonish, Air Slash. I saw Scylla operate the way she does. Granted, it works better for longer fights, whereas Ryan's better for shorter fights. So the RNG is a little tighter. But this is better than I thought it was. And I glossed over this as well. This is another aspect that makes him very good. A 40% AoE flinch. That's pretty good. Sandstorm Silver Sidekicks raises the evasiveness of all odds sequences 1 stat rank when the user move is successful. That's fine. Sandstorm NPR 3. You get this at 2 out of 5. This is very good. So you only need to put 1 candy into him to get the full benefit of, that's the wrong thing, of Team Strengthening Status 9. You only need 1 candy. Poke Trap 3 is honestly whatever. Mind Boggler lowers the special defense by 1 star rank when the user move is successful against a flinch, confused, or trap target. So you trap them once, you can now lower their special defense. However you see fit. Whether that be, you got lucky with Twister, or you trapped them in the beginning. You just do it. So yeah, that's good. But then you can max out Fire Spin accuracy from this if you choose to go that way. Sharp Entry 1 raises the user crit rate by 1 stat rank when it enters the battle, so you can max out your own crit rate naturally. So that's perfectly fine as well. There's a lot of good stuff here. A lot of good stuff in his 2 out of 5. If you want to make him 2 out of 5, I don't even blame you. His base gets good, but 2 out of 5, it just gets even better. 3 out of 5, maxed out grid. This is where shit gets ridiculous. So you have Max Team Smarts, special move next of all out sync price 1 star when you use the Max move. This is super good with someone like most people, honestly. If you choose to go this way. If you choose to snake down here, you get a free extra 20% damage up when you set up before. Because what most people do is they set up the sun, then nuke with a fire type. this can do that. So it would literally go support EX, Sun, Nuke. So you can literally set that up for free. That is so strong. Interference Sync, we saw with Sky, free 50% up. Sand Alert extends the duration of Sandstorm when the user's on the field. This is fine. This would only be useful for someone for like legendary arenas where you don't want the MPR for some reason. But this is fine. If you don't want to worry about the RNG, you don't need it. Sandstorm Propulsion 9, this is super good for speed comps. And speed comps, you can give Flygon Head Start 1. You can give him CS2 if you want to hit hard. You can do so much good stuff with Flygon, but I think Head Start 1 might actually be his best bet if you choose to go the full 3 out of 5 with Propulsion. So every single Sandstorm you do, you buff everyone, countdown. Buff everyone, countdown. So you get that first either Support EX or Nuke EX super fast. You get max flare power, that is whatever. Max Wearman power, whatever. Solar Sync. Makes it where the first time the user sync is used each battle. So if you go the Sync Nuke route, you can have Solar Sync as well paired with the Fire type, right? Now, obviously Max Flare would do that, but you can have access to at least 2 Sandstorms and 2 Suns guaranteed to keep your other 2 passives up. I personally think this is better for longer fights, but you really don't need it. This isn't needed. So from the 3 out of 5 grid, I say the most useful parts are the Team Smarts 9 and the Sandstorm Propulsion, because that's guaranteed and that's guaranteed. Otherwise, 2 out of 5 is all you really need for him. This unit, I severely underestimated him. I was wrong about most of what he does. Like, his maxes still do good damage as well. If this unit were to come back, would I recommend pulling for him? Yes, actually. I would recommend pulling for this unit. Very strong. He benefits like 99% of pairs in this game in some way. Like, he gives everyone something that they want. And yeah, I think that's everything of Flygon. Now let's go to the one most of you are probably here for. Zygarde and SS Sarita. Now this pair took the game by storm. If you thought Lucamine was bad, she is about as bad. Right? So 50% form, you have 460 special attack and 372 speed. That's not bad. We're going to go over base form first because a lot of stuff changes. So, move-wise, she has 1,000 waves, 4 bar, 168 base power. That's pretty strong. Granted, moves are stronger, but they have split damage. Like, I think all ground types at this point have split damage of some way. Precipice Blades, Earthquake, 1,000 waves. So, it's really whatever. Applies restraint to the target. This is kind of what fucks her a little bit, but even then, it's not that big of a deal. Direct Plus, max out on crit rate. Core Enforcer, AoE, 192 BP, split damage as usual. Feel Our Feelings, 2 bar, use 1 time. Raises the user's special attack and special attack by 6 ranks, applies gradual healing. She has a little bit of sustainability, which is fine. Max out on her own offenses entirely, everything but speed, that's fine. Ecosystem Core Enforcer transforms into complete form until the end of battle. 300 base power. This was a mistake! Now, I'm curious, what is Lucamine's BP with it? Oh, yeah, it's also 300. So yeah, same problem across the board. 300 base power. 300 base power with access to a zone/terrain for Lucamine's example as well. You have access to a free 50%. Granted, you don't get an additional 50% because you're not the one providing the zone, but yeah, you are just so beefed up. Because you are a Master Fair, Kyle's Flag Bearer, powers up the moves of all icing grabs by 10%, reduces move damage, move damage taken by 20%. The more icing pairs with Kalos, that should be Kalos, you have on your team, the higher these percentages are. For for damage done, increases by 10%, and for damage taken by 3%, the maximum is 30, and maximum of damage reduction is... why are you the way you are? That's 26. Whatever. So, if you build properly, that is a free... That's a free 30% damage. That's almost a turn, so that's pretty good. Strong Start 1 increases the user's physical move next and special move next by 1 rank the first time the user enters the battle. So you outright have a 20% increased 1,000 Waves and Core Enforcer. Head Start 1 reduces the user's sync countdown by 1 the first time it enters the battle each battle. So you start the fight, Head Start -1. Now, I originally gave this shit as well, because it's like, it's just 1. But this is meant to pair with other allies. With the Head Start 1 Lucky Cookie now out for other people. People like Snorlax existing. Even Ingo for other free moves and more speed. Whatever. Just people with strong sync countdown abilities. This is meant to be more on top of that. I was wrong about that. Restrained sync up. Now this is useless. Here's why. Powers up the use sync moves when the target is restrained. That's not the useless part. It's how megas work in this game. When you mega, you become the mega form first. So you get the stats of the mega. In this case, 556 on your first sync. So restrained sync up becomes, this is supposed to be power hold. I don't know why this isn't changed, but that's supposed to be power hold 5. So power hold 5 increases base moves and sync moves. Restrained sync up just does sync. So when you mega, it shows power hold and not restrained sync up. Why does it do that? I have no idea. Because that's how it's supposed to work. I don't know why they put that in. Piercing Gaze, moves never miss. That's fine. Both have 100 accuracy either way. Whatever. Previous stats can be lowered. Again, fine, but it's whatever. Those two alone, I feel like nerf her a little bit. But the thing about Power Hold 5 is that it acts as another terrain/zone for this character. So it's a 50% up, but then if you have Dialga, Core Enforcer becomes up. Core Enforcer's damage pretty much doubles. So it becomes X2. Now, most things in this game, like Ramming Speed, Furious Brawn, those are 30% multipliers. So having a built-in 50% is pretty big. Like, that's a lot, 50%. But then in the grid, now that we're done with that, 1 out of 5, you get Sand Shelter, whatever, MGR, some base powers. It's fine. You could definitely get the job done with that. Right? So 2 out of 5, you get access to 1 more MGR per move. Sands of Time 2 to go with your Sand Shelter. Fine. Finer Feelings NPR. Don't need that. You really don't. Unless if you're really struggling for a move gauge, and even then I wouldn't recommend it. Dire Hit NPR. Don't need it. Hold Hostage 1. Now, I gave this shit as well, because I'm like, it's only 10%. What this is meant to do is this is meant to take Power Hold 5, and it's meant to round it up to be what would be 2 full additional multipliers of Ramming Speed, Furious Brawn, whatever. It's meant to round it up to 2 of those. So, because each of those is worth 30, but then with Power Hold, it's meant to buff up Core Enforcer up to an additional 60% without Zone. So it's meant to round that up. So, but it's not needed. It is not needed. But that's the purpose of it. And she does that job very well. Now, here's the bread and butter. Max out grid. This, I'm just going to say this right now. This is what you want to go for. You have Brain Power. This is the biggest part of her kit. The more that you use special attack is raised, the more it powers up sync moves. So grab out your notebooks. We're going to do some more math real fast. Third time going over a sync nuke today. So we have Dialga's terrain, assuming you have that, being 50%. you have Power Hold, which is another 50%. So we're at X2 right now. Then this is X2 because sync moves, if it doesn't have a number to it, it's X2. If it's more debuffed, it's 2.2. So X4 with, what's the base again here? Because you're in the complete form first sync, 556 base special attack. That's like, how shy is that off of Mewtwo? I need to check this. Because I know Mewtwo is the highest special attack in the game. Like, just for reference. 620. So you're about 70 special attack shy. If my math is correct. But yeah, that's nothing to sneeze at. X4 with 500 something special attack. That is super high. And the best part is, unlike Lusamine, this isn't restricted to super effective. Because Lusamine obviously operates best when it's super effective. This does not care. It just doesn't. You get sync damage guard, applies damage guard next effect to the user the first time its sync is used. That's whatever. You don't need it. Maybe one day I'll see someone use it. Effectively, if it's like a heavy AoE stage. But she has the HP region to go with that for some form of sustainability. So she's fine there. Fearfang's Bogo applies free move next. That, you can use this for solo or duo speed runs because she doesn't give speed. So you would have you would 1,000 waves first, dire hit, feel our feelings, assuming you get two bars back, and by then if you're doing the half sync parameter, sync, but then you get the free Corn Forcer. She gets status immunity. Status conditions can be flipped on the user. You can use her as a tank for that, and just have a general defense buffer. The sync damage jar would help with that, and the healing obviously to keep herself a little sustained. Other than that, she just kills. Super duper effective too. Once again, this isn't needed because the rest of her kit it just screams you can off tech just fine. But if you choose to do super effective stuff, use this. An extra 20%, it's like just a free CS2. But super effective. Like it's still very good. Very strong. Super Syncer, super effective next to the user the first time its sync is used each battle. So if you're doing a speed comp type thing, you rush your sync, you, let's say, Snorlax super effective her up, you do it, you get Super Syncer, you use that immediately, but then you super effective up again after, so you get a guaranteed 4 super effective ups, because Snorlax can refresh his thing guaranteed. So you get a guaranteed 4 versus 3, but by then they're probably dead. So it's a little more situational. You don't need it, but it's definitely worth it if you choose to go that route. So if this unit were to come back, would I recommend pulling for it? If you have Dialga, definitely. Definitely. This unit is the strongest striker in this game. Just kills. Like, I'm sorry. She just takes any other striker, even Lusamine, and just puts him to shame. Like, as strong as Lusamine is, she's still better. Higher stats, higher move multipliers, she just does more. And yeah, that is going to be it for the video. I went on for a little longer than I was expecting to for 4 pairs. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this, learned something from it, and see what I learned from this as well, from my initial opinions to now. Though those videos are on the channel as well if you want to see my initial opinions of them versus now after it's been 2 months, because I'm a lazy bitch. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.